Hello guys, so in this video I'll be coding this strategy by TradingLab. So it says this scalping strategy for day trading. I'll be coding this for MT5, and at the end of the video I'll be backtesting and I'll be optimizing to get the best out of the strategy. I'll see you in the video. Basically, the video is a short one, so you can easily go to the video, watch it to understand what the video is all about. But quickly, I will explain what the video is talking about. So the video says we need about 4 things, right? So the first thing we need is our Williams Fractal, right? So Williams Fractal is an inbuilt indicator, so we can find out under the Bill Williams, right? And this is it, Williams Fractals. So here you go. So we can just say, okay, make it yellow for us. So this is the Williams Fractals. Then we need moving average. So actually we need 3. The first one, which will be 100-day period, and it will be an EMA, exponential. So we leave it on red, right? Then we have another one, which will be 50. Then we leave this on yellow. Then we have another one, which will be 20. Then we leave this on green. Okay, this is too dark, so let's use this. So the strategy says whenever we have the 100-day moving average above the 50-day moving average, and the 50-day moving average is above the 20-day moving average, then there is a pullback on the 20-day moving average or the 50-day moving average. Then we have a fractal high, which is this. Also, it is occurring here. You can see it is pulling back into the 50-day moving average. Then we have a fractal high. So this is a sign that yes, we should go bearish. So we should have a sell position, because we have the 100 above the 50 and the 50 above the 20. Then we have a pullback into the 50-day moving average. So the pullback can either be 50 into the 50 moving average or the 20 moving average, but should not be on the 100-day moving average. The moment the pullback is happening on the 100-day moving average, that is a sign that there should be no trade. This means a possible reversal. Meanwhile, we are not trading reversal, we are trading trend continuation. So this is a sign that it is not a good trade, a potential reversal. So we should ignore something like this, right? So this is a valid sell case. This is also a valid sell case. Then he said, after placing our trade, our stop loss should be the next moving average. For example, if we place our position here, since we are touching the 50 period moving average, then our stop loss should be away from the 100-day moving average. In the case where the 20 moving average is the one touched, so our stop loss should be away from the 50 period moving average. Our risk to reward ratio for the take profit should be 1.5, right? So that is what it means. So in the case where you find it hard to understand what I've explained so far, so you can easily go back to the video to understand. So let's look at the buy case. So this is a very good buy case. So you can see the pullback into the 50 period moving average, right? Then it is not touching this 100 period moving average, so that make it valid. Then we have a fractal low, so it is a sign that, oh, you should go bearish on the next candle. So on this candle we will be buying, and we'll be putting our stop loss to be a little bit away from this 100-day period. So of course that would have been a loss, but this is also a valid buy, and this is a valid buy. If we had entered this, I think we should be in profit, right? So we will quickly code this so that we'll be able to backtest this for a very long period of time, probably 2 years, 5 years. Then we optimize to get the best value, to see what the best risk to reward ratio. Either we should use 0.5, 1 to 1, or 1.5 to 1, like he discussed in the video. So let's quickly get into it to see the results. I'll see you in the video. So yeah, I'll clear this up. All right, so the first thing we need is we need to specify that, okay, you know what? The first thing we need from the user is we need them to specify the magic number. So for the magic number, I'll just say it's to you can use any number. You can use 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever you want. Then this we need the magic number. We need this lot size. So the lot size can also be in at the account percent. So for example, if you want to risk 1% of your account, you can do that. This kind of calculation has been done in one of the lectures on the course on Udemy. So the link to the description. And in the case where you are not interested in such calculation, and in the case where you just want to know how the calculation work, there's another video on my channel on explaining how this calculation can also be done for indices and for forex. You can either check the link in the description that will teach you everything you need to know about developing an indicator, an EA, include file, and a script for MetaTrader 5. So you can check the video in the link. Let's quickly continue. So we are interested in fixed lot size here, right? Then let's specify the reward to risk. So I can just say reward to risk should be 1.5. Also, I would love to specify the time frame so that it will be easy to backtest. So we want to get the best time frame. You can, according to the video, he is saying we should focus on 1 minute time frame for scalping, but 1 minute time frame can be misleading. So I would like to specify the time frame in the input so that we will be able to optimize for the time frame to get the best time frame as well. So we can just optimize from 1 minute time frame to maybe 1 hour to see which one is the best for this strategy. Also, we want to limit to see if we should only be buying on a particular pair. For example, maybe you are interested in gold, you should only be buying on gold or be selling on a particular pair, or you want to do both. So that means I'll give a room for trade buyers. So I'll say time frame. So by default, it will be the current time frame, right? Then now the thing is the buyers. So let's give room for that. I will create an enum for buyers, right? So you can either buy, only sell, or do both, buy and sell. So this will be the description. Oops. Only sell and only buy. So this is the description, right? Then we can have this. Let's have this here. So in the case where the user wants to specify, so I'll just call this direction. Then I will say buy and sell by default, so I'll call it trade direction. So in the case where you want to restrict to just buying, so you select this. In the case where you want to restrict to just selling, you select this. And in the case where you want to buy and sell, you select that, which is the default. So the next thing we want to take care of is we want to give it an extra stop loss, right? So let's say after putting so let's say the trade is valid because the fractal is touching the 50 period moving average. So the stop loss will be on the 100 period moving average. So what extra stop loss, what extra distance should be applied? So we should also be able to optimize for this. So by default, let's leave it on 0. So I'll say extra XL, right? Or let's say extra stop loss. So pips. Then the last thing is let's just put the trade comment. So Williams Fractal and TMAEA. Then we should call this trade comment, right? So let's quickly get our handles. Handle for the Fractal Williams. Let's just handle Williams. Then handle for the the fast moving average. Then handle for the the medium, or let's say moderate. then handle for the slow. And we can also give room to edit the period. So you can say fast MA period, right? So let's give the user room to edit that. So you can say fast MA. You know what? Let's just add code it. So you can do that from your hand, right? So first thing, we want to make sure we say, oh, we don't have this trade function. So I would say include trade from this H. Then we want this. Also include from this trade, but it will be from position info. Position info MQH, then C position info P info, right? So that is what we are interested in. Then we can easily say trade set magic number, expert number. So we should be good. Then we can say Williams Fractal, this one. So it is an inbuilt indicator, right? So we can just do this and you can see it doesn't stress. It doesn't even take any parameter. So that's good. So for the fast moving average, so this is also an inbuilt moving average. So use this. Then the period should be 20. The shift should be 0. Oops, the shift should be 0 and should be an exponential moving average. And you can say price close. You can make it available for this user to edit all of this information in the input tab. So in the case where that is what you want. So you can say moderate. Okay, you know what? I'll just copy this, right? So here I'll say 50, and for the slow, I'll make this 100, right? So we should be good. So the next thing is, you know what? We want to have a function called Williams Fractals. So it will return nothing, and it is expecting no argument. So the next thing we want to do is we want to also always check before we consider looking for trade. We want to always check if there is an open position, right? So to do that, we will use this position, last position index. So we need this function which we are going to create now. So this function, it will return an integer, right? So what this function will be doing is it will look through all the position from the end, right, greater or equal to 0. Then whenever it doesn't see anything, so it will return -1, right? And it is able to select it successfully, right? And the symbol of that position selected is the same with the chart symbol, and the magic number of the trade position, the magic number of the position selected is the same with the magic number specified by the user. What I want to do is I want to return that index. Else, if after looping through all the position and this condition is not met, so just return -1, meaning there is no open position. So in the case where there is no open position, that means the trade index value is -1. So that is when we want to continue looking for position, right? So now, what do we want to do? We want to make sure that we have we want to make sure that we have the moving average values gotten. So we want to store the moving average value of the 20 period year, then for the 50 year, right? Then we want to have the one for the 100 year as well. So we want to copy the buffer from the handle for the fast. So the period is the buffer is 0, the starting is 0, and we just want 5. Basically, maybe we just need 1, but I love having a little bit of extra. So we want to store it here. Then for the moderate, right? So here 5, and we want to store it on the 50, right? So we want this, which is the slow, 0005. Oops, this will be EMA 100, right? Then we want to set it as series. So for the EMA 20, so this should be true. Set as series EMA 50, this will also be true. Set as series EMA 100, this will also be true, right? So that is that. Then we also want to get the fractal, right? So let me just leave a little bit of space so we can say fractal. So going back, you can see we have two buffers, one for the fractal up and the other for the fractal down. So we are looking for fractal down, which is index 1 for the buy case, and we are looking for the fractal up, which is index 0 for the sell case, right? So let's quickly get that. So I'll save fractals up. Fractals down, right? So we copy the buffer as well, Williams. So we start from 0, then we just want 5 of it, then fractals up, then we copy this and do William 1 0 5 and fractal down. Then we set a series, right? All of these have been explained in the course. So if you check my channel, you will see 1/3 of the course on my YouTube channel, but the remaining 2/3 or the whole course is on Udemy. So in the case where you find it hard to understand or follow along with this, so you can either skip to the back test and optimization result parts, or if you are interested in learning, so you can either go to Udemy to get the course at the discounted price, or just watch my YouTube video, which is 1/3 of the course. So let's continue. So fractal up, so we want to set it as series, right? Then for this, we want to set the fractal down as well as series. So let's quickly get into the buy condition. So if you want to buy, we say if the EMA, if the closed one, which is the one beside the forming bar, is greater than the EMA 50s and the EMA 50 is greater than the EMA 100, right? Then the fractal down, you realize that each time there's a fractal up, the value of the fractal up is the same with the high, right? And each time there's a fractal down, the value of the fractal down is the same with the low. So that means we should have the previous candle's low and high also available, so we can use in comparing. So high, then the time frame, and it should be for the previous candle. So the moment the fractal down is equal to the low, right? So that means there's a fractal low. This is what it means. So once there's a fractal low, right, and this particular low is lower than EMA 20, so that is the condition we just need for the buy. But we also want the low to be higher than the EMA 100. So we don't want it to touch the 100 period moving average. So that is why we are doing this. And that is our condition for buy, right? So let's quickly do a condition for sell before we move to the next one. So you know what, I'll just copy this. So we want it to only sell when the 20-day period, the 20 period moving average is lower than the 50-day, and the 50-day is also lower than the 100, but we are dealing with a fractal up, right? And the up is equal to the high, so that means there's fractal up, right? Then we want to make sure that the high, if you want to make sure that the high is higher than the 20 period moving average. So the moment it is higher than the 20-day moving average, it is either touching the 20-day moving average or the 50-day moving average. So even after touching either of the two, since we are saying that the 20-day will surely be less than 50-day, it should be less than 50-day, and the moment the high is now higher than the 20 period moving average, meaning that it is either touching the 20-day or touching the 50, but it should not touch the 100 period moving average. So it should be lower than the 100 period moving average. So that is what we mean here. Then if those conditions are met, we should sell. So now let's quickly sell. So what should be our stop loss, right? So that is the next question. We can either say, let's say we have the stop loss defined, right? You know what, let's define it outside here, right? I want to show you what is called ternary operation. So normally we should say if the low is greater than EMA 50, so that means the low is not touching the 50, it is only touching the 20, and that is what makes the condition valid, but it is not touching the 50. So that makes 50 to be a point where we can put our stop loss, right? So normally we should say, if in this case our stop should be EMA 50, right? But in the case where the low is actually lower than EMA 50, that means it is touching the EMA 50. So of course, according to the video, it says that the stop should be our EMA 100, right? So that is what the guy said. So this is one way of doing it. But so in a ternary way, which is another way of writing if else condition. So what we can do is we can say the stop should be, so we can say if the stop at the low is higher than the EMA 50. So what we want to do is we want to set the stop to be EMA 50. Else, what we want to do is we want to set the stop to be EMA 100. So this line is equal to this. You can see we have written this in a very short form. You can see also, you will notice that this is equivalent to just saying else, right? So what we did here is the same with what we have done here. So this is called ternary operator. So it is another way of writing if else condition. So we can easily remove this. In fact, we do not need to call this outside. So you can just call this here, right? So that is that. I hope you understand. So now let's get the difference between the ask price and, okay, before we do that, we want to add the extra. So I can either have this extra. Let me have this extra here. So I will say extra. So I'll say extra XL multiply by points, then multiply by 10, right? So what I'll be doing here is I can either have it here that, okay, don't just do this, say minus extra, and here as well, you can say minus extra. In the case where you find this hard to comprehend, you can just put it in a bracket. So you know that, oh, it is after all this is done. So that is what I mean here. So you can see whenever the low, let's say this low, okay, let's say we are dealing with this particular case. So whenever this low is higher than the 50 period, right? So we want our stop loss to be the 50 period. But in the case where the low is not higher than the 50 period, then our stop loss should be 100 period moving average. So that is what we mean. To recap, whenever the low is higher than the 50 period, we want the stop loss to be the 50 period minus an extra specified. Whenever the low is not greater, that means the low is touching the 50, we want our stop loss to be the 100 period moving average. So that is what we are trying to do there. Then what we want to do, we want to get the difference between the ask and the stop loss so that we'll use it in dictating what our target should be, right? So our target should be ask plus this XL multiplied by the reward to risk. So whenever our stop loss is, let's say, 20, then if our reward to risk is 1-to-1, our take profit will also be 20 pips away. In the case where our reward to risk is, let's say, 1.5, and if our stop loss is 20 pips away, then our target will be 30 pips away, right? So it is as simple as that. So what we can do, since we have our stop loss and our target, we also have our fixed lot size ready. So you can easily say, you know what, let's confirm if there is no problem. So we can easily say trade should buy using the fixed lot size, and you should buy for this chart symbol, right? You should buy at what price? So you can buy at the ask price. So you realize that we've not set the ask price as well. So we can easily come here and set the ask price. So this compared to MKL5 compared to MKL4, ask price is not given by default. So you will have to fetch for it. So which is what I'm trying to do here. So in case where you are only familiar with MKL4, so don't be surprised. Welcome to MKL5. So yeah, we already have our stop loss defined, then we already have our TP defined. Then for the comments, it will be based on whatever specified. So let's quickly do for the sell case. So for the sell case, we can say, now, if the high is less than the EMA 50, right? So the stop loss should be EMA 50 plus extra, right? Else, the stop loss should be EMA 100 plus extra. So I hope you understand now. It is very simple. So we need to get the difference between the stop loss and the bid price, right? So which is, we are expecting the bid price, we are expecting the stop loss to be higher, right? So that means the stop loss minus the bid price, then that we can use in determining our target. So which is bid minus XL times reward to risk, right? Then you can see, so lot for the chart symbol, right? Use the bid price, give this stop loss, take this target, and this comment. So in the case where the result is false, that means the trade was unable to be is not able to place the trade. In the case where the EA is not able to place the trade, you want to know why. So you can easily say order send error of this particular last error. So you can also copy this, can have it here. So another form to write this is to do it like this. So this is another form to write when the result is equal to false. So now I think we are good to go. So we can now test our EA. So I'll save and compile. And the beautiful thing about MKL5 is that and okay, we have errors. So, oh, I'm very sure you sense that. So, so far, whenever we are trying to access these guys, especially here, we are not specifying, we are forgetting that we are dealing with an array. So you can see it is an array in here. See, it is an array. So we should not just be specified like this. So that is one problem. Also, we did the same error here. We did it here as well. And yeah. Another thing we should have done is we should actually assign this particular the index you're trying to access. We should have it also assigned to a variable. Time I need it, I'll call whatever I want. So I think we should be good to go. So I'll save and try again. Okay, we have one error left. So it is telling me that this is not found, and that is because we shouldn't have put C here. We shouldn't put C here. So let me save and compile. All right, so we are good to go. Let's quickly back test. So I have my strategy tester. You can see. So in the case where you don't have it, you can go for view, then you will see your strategy tester. Then I'll select my EA, which is the Williams Fractal, right? Then the symbol. So let's just go for gold for now. Then we can just leave it on 50. Okay, let's leave it on 5 minutes so that we'll have a faster result. Then I can change this to, let's say, 1000, right? Yeah, I'll leave it on buy and sell. Oh, we don't handle this case. Let's quickly do that. So now we only want to buy if oops, we only want to buy if the direction is buy. Okay, I think it's only buy, or the direction is buy and sell. So in the case where the direction is only sell, it should not buy. So that is what it means there. So we can just copy this into this place, then we can say change it to sell. So in the case where the direction is only sell or buy and sell, that is when you should even consider other conditions. So that is what we are trying to do there. So I will save and compile. Right, so that means we've taken care of this, but now let's leave it on buy and sell. Then let's use this fixed loss. We can change this to 2. You know what, we don't want an extra stop loss for now, so we want reward to risk, right? So I would love to change this. I did not give a description. Reward to risk. So I'll save and compile. Okay, good. So you know what, use the current time frame, which is 5 minutes, right? Yes, 5 minutes. So I'll just start. Okay, so we are backtesting. So I'll remove this grid so that we can see, and let's see. Whenever the market pull back into the 20 period, I think this is the 20 period, this is the 50, and this is the 100. So whenever the market pull back into the 20 or the 50 and we have a fractal down, a fractal low, so we are hoping to have a position. So let's see. We are hoping to have a buy position. Let's see. Okay, I think the fractal high and the fractal low is not happening on index 1, so we'll probably look into index 2 for the fractal low and the fractal high, but let's confirm before we go ahead with that. So you can see it is even tentative. So I think we should just, so let's try, you can see it is not working. So that is because the fractal high and the fractal low are only assigned after this second candle is formed. So for example, if it is meant to happen here, this candle, on this candle, we cannot see it on the previous one. It is until this candle is being formed, then we can access index 2. So I think that's the problem. So let's quickly adjust that. So that means can either adjust it here, right? So that means we can tell it that, okay, you know what, whenever you want to start from 1. So automatically that will do the trick. You know what, let's quickly do this. Let me save and compile. Okay, we are still not getting a trade. So let's not do this then. So what we can do, okay. So what we can do is that instead of having the fractal being checked on index 1, we can just check on index 2. And for this, we can check on index 2. But since we've changed this to 2, we should also change this to 2, right? So that should make it work. So we can save and compile. So let's see if we have any error. No error. So I'll start again. Let me try to reduce the speed. Right? Let me redo this so that we have the indicator pop up. Sometimes your MetaTrader might not pop up your indicator. So you can see, let's see that. Okay, now we have a buy position here, and that is because this candle is pulling into the 20 period moving average, and there is a fractal low. Then the stop loss is placed on the 50 period moving average, and we have a take profit on 1-to-1, right? So let's see what happens. Okay, it hit our take profit. I think there was another buy here due to a fractal low here, but the fractal low was changed. You know, it is a repaint, a fractal, Williams Fractal is a repainting indicator. So the fractal A changed. So that is why we are not seeing it. But here, the fractal did not change, but the stop loss was assigned to the 100 period moving average. Of course, we did not give it an extra. So here is also a valid position. So our EA is working fine, right? Okay, we have a sell position here. So there is, sorry about that. There is a pull into this 50-day period, into this 50 period moving average, right? It happened here. So that is that. So the backtest is successful, but we don't know how much it is going to. So we don't know how good the strategy is in the long run, right? So what we can do is that we can optimize. So I'll show you how to optimize. Then at the end, I'll show you the optimization results. So now, what we want to optimize for, first thing when you want to optimize, try to increase this. Then we want to move this to, let's say, fast or slow, whatever. Then I'll love it to work on a small account, of course. So I would love to start my backtest since 2022, right, to today. Then I would love to start my backtest from 2022, right? Then you can put it on any time frame you want. And then under the input. So this is redundant. We don't need to optimize for this. So what we can optimize for here is we can optimize for either buy only, sell only, or buy and sell. So that is one of the things we can optimize for, right? So another thing we can optimize for is maybe the lot size. But you know what? Let's just use fixed lot size. So I won't optimize for the lot size. So fixed lot size for a 500 deposit account. Then for the extra stop loss, so we can say start with 0, then increase by 5, then stop at, let's say, 20. So that means try for 0, try for 5, then 15, and 20 for the extra stop loss. For the reward to risk, so we can say start from 0.5, then increase by 0.5, then stop at 2, or let's say stop at 3. So that means try for 0.1, 1.0, 1.5, 2.0, 2.5, then 3.0. So for the time frame as well, we can also optimize that. You know what? Start with 1, then stop at, let's say, 1 hour. So let's see the best time frame to get this done. So that is what we mean. And this, of course, we won't be able to access this because optimization is only done for numerical or parameters that takes options like an enum. So in the case where we have a parameter that takes an alphanumeric value, maybe a text, and can take, both text and number, we can't optimize for such parameter. So that is what we are trying to, that is why we won't be able to access this. So there's no point checking the best comment for the EA. So that doesn't make sense. So we are only seeing if we should only buy, or we should only sell, or we should do both, or we should have an extra stop loss of 0 or 5, 10, 15, or 20 after the 50 period, or we should have it after the 50 period moving average, or the 20 or the 100 period moving average. So what should be our extra stop loss? Or even if we should use 1. Also, the reward to risk, if we should use 0.5 to see if that will yield better result, or 1 or 1.5 or 2.0 or 2.5 or 3. So that is what I mean here. Start with 0.5, increase each step by 0.5, then stop at 3. So this is the stop. This is when it is stop. And for this, start the optimization. So you know what? Try for 1 minute time frame, then try for 2, 3, 4, 5, and stop at 1 hour. So you can stop at 1 day, whatever you want. Then after doing all of this setting, you can go ahead and click on start. And I'll leave this. So now the optimization is done. So let's quickly look at the results. So we go for optimization results, and you can see we have results, profit, total trade, expected payoff, the drawdown, the direction. Remember, we use the direction, we optimize the direction as well to either buy only, sell only, or buy and sell. So we can see the extra Excel that was used, the reward to risk, and the time frame that was used. And that's because if you remember, we used time frame. So let's quickly sort this based on drawdown. So if you have to sort this based on drawdown, okay, you can see this is the minimum drawdown, and this is the profit when this particular drawdown. This is a drawdown, right? And this is the profit. So it's only buy, and it's used extra Excel of 15. So that means if it is using 50 moving average for the stop loss, it is using 15 pips away from the 50 moving average. If it is using 100 period moving average for the stop loss, it is using 15 pips away from the 100 moving average. And this was the reward to risk, which is 1.5 to get the lowest drawdown. So if you use 1.5, 15 pips extra Excel, and you only buy on gold. This was only done for gold. So you get your hands on this particular project, you can optimize for whatever symbol you want, maybe Euro USD or whatever pair you trade, to get the best out of it. It might perform better than this, which is doing on gold. So try to check that out. Be sure to check the link in the description. Then the time frame, it is the best time frame to get the lowest drawdown was 30 minutes followed by 15 minutes. So if we are to sort based on profits, you can see this gave the highest profit, but the drawdown is 21%, and the other one, which gave the a little bit different from the highest profit, gave 21.2 7. So I can just say, let's just consider this. But the only difference is that the extra stop loss is 0. I think that's the only difference, and they were both used on 1 hour time frame. So I think you can go for this if you don't mind 21.27 percentage. So it moved our account from 500 to 2,132 and 2,175. I think that's fair enough. Also, this is a scalping strategy, right? So he mentioned that we should use the strategy on 1 minute time frame, right? But if you are to judge from time frame, so you realize that, the 1 minute time frame result is actually bad. See the drawdown, it is as good as 90% or 100%, in fact. So you can see the 1 minute, 3 minutes, they are not really profitable. So you can see they are not so profitable. Okay, this 10 minutes time frame is a little bit profitable, but the best, like I said, so you can see even the minimum drawdown was on 30-minute time frame. So in my opinion, I will advise you go for the one with the lowest drawdown. So just go for 15 minutes, because this optimization is based on past results. So who knows what the future will bring. So try as much as possible not to be greedy. When you get your hands on this project, try as much as possible to use the project on a demo account, right? Because this project was done for educational purpose. Please, this project should only be used on a demo account, right? So I do not advise you to put in your hard-earned money. One, I am not the owner of this strategy. This content is for educational purpose. In the case you have another strategy from another YouTuber that you want me to code, you can comment the link to that video in the description. Also, in the case where you wish to learn to develop this kind of project by yourself, I have a course on Udemy that will teach you everything you need to know about development of forex trading bots from scratch, even if you do not know much about forex or you know nothing about forex. Also, in the case where you do not know much or nothing about programming, you do not need to worry. And that is simply because the introductory part deals with everything you need to know about forex, especially as a developer. Also, everything you need to know about the programming basics of MKL5, which is used in developing trading bots for MT5. Also, you learn about technical indicators, you learn how to use inbuilt technical indicators, you learn how to use custom indicators by other programmers. Then we go into developing our own technical indicators. Then we talk about sending of orders and position, trade functions. Then we go into trade management, develop a function for break-even, trailing, pyramiding. Then we go into learning how to develop an expert advisor. We go into the class project where we dealt with real life projects from martingale to recovery zone. Also, how to send telegram signals. So we move into the advanced concept here where we learn how to draw trend line and buttons and all other chart objects. So be sure to check this out. I'll see you on the next one.